attended last week's meeting? Welcome once again. Apologies about the mix-up with the link. Good to have you. If you attended the part 1 of this session, please put in the chat. And if you did not attend, but you have watched the replay, please put in the chat as well. And if you did not attend and you haven't watched it, please put in the chat as well. I would like to know where we are. While I share my screen. So what I'm going to do first is to take us through what we did last week. We're going to have a very short recap on that. While I'm trying to share my link, my screen as well, I would like us to also tell me in the chat where you are joining from. Okay, Darlene's joined. Oh, okay, you've watched the play. Great. So for the rest of you, I really like to know whether you have watched the replay or you joined last week or you haven't. It doesn't matter what your response is. I would really like to know. Please put in the chat. Thank you. So we started part 1 of gamification last month. Okay, Ayodeji hasn't. Okay, great. Okay, you haven't as well. Okay, great. That's good to know. Okay, gift. Okay, great. You were in part 1 and you like to watch the replay. Amazing. Are you all in the Discord group? Please let me know in the chat if you're in the Discord group or if you are not in the Discord group. Because the link to the replay was sent to the Discord group. Tell me why you're not in the Discord group. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to share a link now. I mean, at the end of this session, we usually share links to the Discord group, and then you're also going to receive an email after this session, which will, 3 of you guys are not, so that explains why. Okay, Darlene's obviously is. So let me quickly share the link to that group for you to join. You can join now. You can join later if you want. So we always share the link to the replay of every session. If you go to webinar, to events or general, you're going to see it there. Or you can always ask in the group. That's our, small community there. So I will just quickly share that link with you now before I share my slides. Okay. So here is the link. If you are not yet part of the Discord Discord group, I've just shared the link to the Discord group in the chat now. So if you join the Discord group, you're going to always get updates about our programs, and also resources are shared there. For example, this is part 2 of the gamification workshop. The link to part 1 was shared there in that group. So you want to use that link to join. Okay, great. I'm sorry once again about the mix-up with the link. That's why we are starting a bit late. So I'll quickly do a recap of what we did last week for people that were not here to be able to follow today. Share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen clearly. Can you see my screen? Are you able to see my screen? Okay. Oh, really? Are you able to see my screen, guys?
Yes, it's
No. Okay. That's interesting. How about now?
yes, I can see.
Okay, you can see. So let's say enter full screen mode. Okay, great. Uh, so gamification, we did, this is introduction to, so the learning outcome is for us to understand what gamification is about, the elements of gamification, how to design gamified elements, the types and the components. These were all the things we did last week, went through. And today we want to go into actually designing a gamified content and also looking at some gamification tricks. However, I'll just quickly take us through what we did. So we said gamification is a technique that involves applying game elements to game techniques and game thinking in a non-game context. So when we say non-game context, we're talking about learning, we're talking about solving problems which are not games, but we're using gamification elements, techniques, and thinking. So when we say gamification elements, what do we mean? And what does gamification include? In gamification, we have things like something that a situation that is almost like a realistic experience. It's usually challenging. There are rules, there are defined objectives. It's in a limited environment, a constrained environment. It's achievable, and it involves a sense of progress. So there's social aspect and recognition. And we talked about why do we actually apply gamification to our learning is because of the type of motivation that we get from it. Gamification helps to motivate learners to learn. We talked about the two types of motivation, intrinsic and the extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation is when you have people wanting to learn because they want to have a sense of accomplishment. For example, you get involved in learning because you want to be able to say that you have achieved something because of the opportunity to learn it, or because it gives them a sense of autonomy, gives them a sense of mastery of what they are learning. And the extrinsic is the one where people learn because of the reward they're going to get, things like points, badges, trophies. There's a reward. And we also talked about the context of gamification in-person events and online events, at our different offices in learning. We talked about the elements of gamification. Like I mentioned earlier, gamification involves applying game elements in non-game situations. So when we talk about elements, what are these elements? These elements are into three categories. We have the dynamics, we have the mechanics, and the components. The dynamics is actually the story around, your objectives. What are you trying to achieve? The environment you're trying to use. And then the mechanics talks about the activities that you're going to be doing, the challenges you're going to be involved in, and the components are the actual elements that you use on your screen to ensure that your learning, the learning design works. So the examples of game elements, we have levels, competitions, we have winners, we have mechanics like dice, we have avatars, which represent the players. I talked about a constrained environment. What environment are we talking about? The background you use, the aesthetics, the objectives, the rules, the goals. These are things that we have in gamification. And we also talked about different types of gamification. We've talked about the elements. We've talked about why get involved in gamification. Then there are different types. We have three different types. The reward based, which focuses on individual goals, somebody trying to engage in a particular learning. We have the social and collaborative gamification, which involves teamwork, a situation where all the users must work together to achieve a goal, a collective goal, or to overcome a shared challenge. And we have the level and progression based, where learners overcome different stages or levels, one after the other. So except you complete a level, you don't move to the other. And all of this, if you watch the replay of last week's session, you'll see that I explained all of these concepts and examples in detail. So there are elements, there are types, and the why. And then we had this small activity where we record courses in which we had gamification elements. And then we also talked about the different types of gamification. So one thing about the different types of gamification is that each of them has a different type of user. And then we talked about components, we talked about mechanics, components being the actual components that you see on your screen or that you use, like your dice, the buttons you click, the avatar, the background, those are components. The mechanics are actually the activities, the rules that you get involved in, what you actually do. So each of these types of gamification has its own blend of user, it has its own blend of components and mechanics and different types of user. If you remember earlier, I said the reward-based is, let me go back. The reward-based focuses on individual goals, right? The social and collaborative focuses on teamwork, and level and progression talks about achieving, and overcoming different levels of complexity, moving from one stage to the other. So when you come to the type of avatar, the type of person that will be involved in individual goal, these are achievers, people that are driven by status or winning. You just want to, for example, you go on LinkedIn to take a course because you want to be able to get a certificate and say, I've achieved this, I am certified in this, I have this qualification. That's reward based. The social and collaborative is the one that we see many times in corporate organizations, when you have to achieve an activity together, in learning or probably in strategy sessions, where you get involved in activities that you have to do together. Even at work, when you are trying to get work done and you delegate different aspects of a particular project for different people to do, that's gamification in action. So gamification is not about playing games or having your content laid out in form of game. It's not only about that. It's actually using the components of gamification, which I explained last week. Make sure you watch the replay. And then, so these people are the socializers. And then the kind of person that will be involved in level and progression based is what you call the explorer. So let's go back to the blend of mechanics and the components. For an achiever, the kind of mechanics that you see used are things like quizzes, interactive game, interactive activities. And then the components that you see are things like the prizes, the points, the badges. We'll go to that when we're designing. And then when we talk about the socializers, these are people, the kind of mechanics are team activities, role play, board game, and then the components are rankings, tools, points, badges. These are examples. And when you talk about the explorers, these are people that love to interact with games. They like to compete and improve. They want to move from one level to the other. And then you look at breakout rooms, look at escape rooms, competitions, and we have rankings, missions, badges. So like I said, I gave more examples last week and then we also explored the different applications of gamification with Genially templates. We looked at those last week, and we also had a brief introduction to how to use Genially to create courses. And so here, this was the last thing we did. This is the process of designing a gamified content. For those of us that have experience with learning design, is there anyone here that has experience with learning design, that has like an understanding of the ADI model? Oh, the link is saying unable to accept invites. Oh, I don't understand why that is. Okay, I'll sort that out. So how many people here have an experience with or a knowledge of the ADI model? Does anyone here have an experience of the ADDIE model? ADDIE model. No, you don't. Okay, yes. So ADDIE model is an acronym for the process of learning design. So ADDIE, Tomiwa, you know it, right? So can you share with us what ADDIE is? What the different alphabets mean? What does A mean? What does D mean? And if there's anyone else that knows, you can, be involved in this activity. Tell me what A means in ADDIE. Tell me what D, the first D, the second D. And this is not only limited to Tommy or any other person who knows about ADDIE. Please share in the chat what you know. Analysis. Yeah, great. Okay, so Kingsley has given us all the answers. So that's it. So we have analysis, we have design. Thank you, Kingsley. Thank you, Tomiwa. We have design, development, and implementation and evaluation. These are the different stages of designing learning. So this is also featured in gamified learning design, which I'm going to show us briefly how it's related to ADDIE. I'm going to show with us shortly how it's related to ADDIE. Okay. No. I did not want to enter full screen. Okay. Give me a moment, please. Okay, so as we can see, please let me know if my screen is still visible. All right. Okay, great. So now looking at this gamified learning design, you'll see that we have objectives. It says you have to how many of us here work in corporate organizations or have been involved in any learning design? Please let me know in the chat. So usually in the analysis stage, that is when you get to understand the scope of your learning design project. You meet with stakeholders, you meet with your subject matter experts, and they help you to understand the organizational goal that is that they're trying to achieve. And then from there, you also try to understand the objectives. And this is what this first stage is about, objectives. You need to define your objectives and choose the KPI to measure the achievement of your objective. For example, let's say the objective for designing a training intervention now is for you is sales, or to increase the number of sales or the number of contracts that you bring into the organization. There has to be KPIs to see before the training and after training the sales executives, how many sales came in afterwards over a period of time. So you need to define your objectives for designing learning. And then the next thing is in the same analysis, you need to analyze your audience. You need to understand the people that you're designing training for. Why are we designing training for them? We already talked about the objectives. So who are these people? What's the best way to design learning to get them to interact with learning? What is the best way for them to be able to to learn. What is their lifestyle like? What technological competencies do they have, or what issues? How is the best? What learning that will help you to know the learning experience to design for them. So you need to always understand your target audience, to understand their learning need. Now you want them to be able to sell better. You want them to be able to close deals better. What do they really need to know to be able to close deals better? What kind of content do we need to give to them? What do they already know? What's their learning gap? You need to understand your learning, your audience, and that's number two, your target. And then number three, you need to choose the appropriate format for the gamification based on your audience and the objective. Okay. Do you need to give them content and then give them quizzes to test their knowledge? Do you need to give to design like scenario based learning, which will be like form like a gamified kind of learning? Is it breakout rooms? Do you need to have them during the training be put into breakout rooms where they can discuss and also learn from one another? Breakout room actually is a gamified concept. Is it some form of simulation where you give simulation is actually, if you're doing e-learning or role play, is more like scenario-based learning, where you put them in a context that as if they're in real life situation. You give them a question that gets them to think as if they're in real life situation. For those of us that have been attending workshops with LEG, you know that we have done a workshop on scenario-based learning. We actually had 3 different classes on that. So if you're interested in knowing that, you'll find it on our YouTube channel. So this will help you to know. So what you want to achieve will help you to know what kind of format you want to use for them. And then the dynamics is the fourth thing. What are the main elements that you need to use? What are the rules? What are the activities that they need to be involved in? What is the rule? What kind of story? So the format tells you what format you want to use, about using quiz, simulation. Then the dynamics talks about the actual story, the actual content. What's the what constraints do we need to have? What kind of narratives are we talking about? Is there going to be socialization? Is there going to be progression? Are there going to be restrictions? What kind of emotions do you want to get from them? And then the mechanics, of course, is the rules, the activities, the points, the challenges, the activities that they're going to do. And many times that comes in form of the assessments, the quizzes and all that. And then you start to develop, which is where we are today. And does anyone have a question? I know that this is a lot that I've quickly summarized now based on what we did last week. And you really need to watch last week's session to understand it better. So let me know if you have any question before I move to show us today's content. Okay, so in the absence of any question, I'm going to, the network is unstable. Okay, sorry about that. Is everybody able to hear me? And am I fluctuating in my, as I'm talking, are you able to hear me, or is the network, does it look like the network is, I need to get response from everyone, please.
No, it's fine at my end.
It's fine. Okay, so I guess it's Ayodeji's place. So today's learning outcomes, which we have on the screen, we have 3 things that we're going to touch on. We're going to learn some gamification tricks. We're going to learn how to design gamification for companies, and we're also going to design a gamification course. I'll show you how a gamification course was designed. So let's get on with it. So let's go into the tricks first. So for those of us who, last week, what I did was to share with us, if you are not, if you haven't signed up to Genially, we're going to be using Genially as the authoring tool. So I'm going to put in the chat, if you have not connected to Genially. Gift, you said you can't hear me. Can anyone else hear me? Okay, you say you can hear me. Okay, yeah. So let's go to Genially. If you are not subscribed to Genially, this is it. This is Genially. So while we're in class now, you can try, you might be able to try out some of the things that we're doing. So that's Genially. Sign up. It's free to sign up to Genially. There's the free option. There are a lot of features, free features there. And even when you are not able to use certain features, it's very, very cheap. If you go to the pricing section, you'll see. And the good thing also about Genially is that you can just decide to sign up for a month for a project you want to do, and it's very, very cheap. It's very, very affordable. I don't like to use the word cheap, but it's quite affordable. So I'm going to go to show us some Genially, gamification tricks on Genially. So here, I shared this page with everyone last week. I'll share it again in case you want to learn about how to gamify and learn more about it. You can find resources here to check on later. But now we're just going to look at the tricks, some of the tricks of gamification. So that's the course. So let's look at some gamification tricks that I'll just show us now. So some of the gamification tricks that we have are things like hiding objects. In games, you click on something and an object just appears, right? That's a trick in gamification. For example, here it says search for the lost contract. You can move all these things around. It's like you're playing a game, you're searching for something. That is a trick. And then when you find the right one, it says, oh, you can see that sound that came up, that got it. Remember for the next time to file it with the rest of the contracts. That's just a message to tell you you got it correctly. Let's say I choose this one. There's no sound. This is another one. The office power is out. Locate the generator. And then it looks like you're taking a flashlight around. There are objects. And then when you get to the generator, it comes up. Click to reboot the generator. And then you click. Everything comes on. These are tricks. Let's say, for example, you have a course in which there is a form of suspense, there's a form of adventure. You want people to move from one place to the other to get something. These are the kind of tricks that you can use in Genially. And if you want to know how it's done, if you come to information, the way it's done, it's here. You can always try it out. So I'm going to try these two tricks with us right now. And then if you want to see more tricks, of course, you can always check. This is another one, secret messages. It says, discover your next destination. If you click on I here, this is how it was done. But if you want to know what it's like, you come here, you click here, and then this is actually an information. It says your next. You click another one, destination is is Paraguay. I hope I pronounced that well. But there's a way to make all these effects come up, right? If you want to know how that is done, if you come to information here, you're going to see how that is done. However, I'm going to show some of these tricks. So gamification, of course, involves at times something, there's suspense at times. At times there's mystery, you know, something mysterious, something hidden. You find it out. And some of the things that we also use in gamification is sound. How do you make a sound to something to give you a sound? We're going to we're going to get that done today. There's also catching challenges. Let's say you want to move words around. Okay, this one says catch 7 interactions in 10 seconds. These are all tips that we can use in our um, gamification courses. So I haven't looked at these tricks. I've shared the link of where we can find it. I'm going to demonstrate some of them for us, but I want to quickly take us through how to use gamification in a corporate setting. All right. And then we can now create a course that is a corporate course. Does anyone have a question at this point before we move on? Any questions? Has anyone also signed up to Genially or finding it hard to sign up to Genially? Let me know. Okay, so can somebody mention 1 or 2 tricks that I've just showed us now? Let me see if we are following. I've showed us a number of tricks now. Did anybody catch them? Let's put in the chat the tricks that we took notice of. What tricks? What tricks? So I talked about hidden objects. Can somebody else remember any other one? Let's put in the chat. Yes, sound. Absolutely. Audio testing, audio sound, yeah. Let's have more. The flashlight, yes, that's like a secret message. Yes, yes. Hidden objects, great. There's also passwords, encrypted codes, catching challenges, all of those would great, thank you. So let's look at the corporate application of gamification, and then we'll go into our task. Yeah. Also, before the end of the course, please remind me, I'm going to be sharing with us some other materials that we can, use. Okay, let's go from here. So I'll just show us a few things briefly before we design. Okay. Let's share screen. I want us to pay attention to this very well. because this is the context where we use it in our organization. So it says gamification for companies. All right, gamification for companies. And one of the things that I want us to focus on really, it's not everything. I'm opening this page because I expect us to go back there and look at it in the Genially Academy. So now this voice is using audio. How did that happen? So there are different benefits of gamification that we have talked about, but in the organizational context, we have it boosts productivity, it increases engagement. Okay, so as I'm clicking on these things, you can see how some things are being revealed, like they were hidden. These are things that we're going to be looking at, how to make things, come up when they are hidden. Increases community and all. So I don't want to bore us with this too much of this. However, looks like we have to open before we can move to the next one. Okay, then. So now I was trying to move to the next one, but it did not allow me until I finished. That is another thing about gamification. When you have levels, if you don't complete a level, you can't move to the other. That is another way you can put gamification into your course. Answer these questions and learn some of the applications of gamification. Yeah. And then this is a quiz, an interactive quiz. That's an example of gamification again, where people have to answer a question. So, and then it shows the answers, and then it moves to another one. Those are other examples of gamification in interactive quizzes. I'll show us in Genially. Now, there are different ways that I can use Genially, but we're going to focus on training today. So if you do other things like marketing, communication, HR, but we're focusing on training today. So I want to show us two ways that you can use gamification. One is as in form of simulation, another one is in form of role play. Okay, simulation and role play. So simulation means if there's any one of us that has played this virtual reality game, that's what simulation is almost all about. It looks like you are inside of it. You are learning and you are given a scenario in which you're actually solving a real problem, but it's like a simulation of a real problem. Let's say, for example, you're a customer service advisor, and then you are given a course in which there is a scenario and they tell you, okay, this person calls, you receive a call, and then this is the question the person asks, how do you answer? It's like you're in a real life situation and you're making your choices and you're getting, you use your 3 C's, which talks about the challenge, your choice and your consequence. And then the challenge is the situation, the question you are given. The choice is the answer that you select, and then your consequence is giving you feedback whether you've made the right choice. So we're going to look at this example now, and then we're going to try to design it. So I want us to pay attention. So if you're ready to look at this example, I want you to put in the chat, ready. Please put in the chat, ready. Because I'm not going to repeat it again. We're going to look at this example and we're going to design it. Just click ready if you're ready to look at it. Yeah, thank you, Temitayo. Thank you, Gift. Adetomiwa, thank you. I'm expecting more responses. Right, are you ready for us to go through this, to look at this example of simulation in gamification? Ayodeji is ready. One more and then we'll roll. One more person, or two or three. This is how I know if you're paying attention. Okay. So let's pay attention to this. Great, thank you for that. Let's pay attention to this now. So we're going to go through this course together. So it's a course on cyber security. And it says cyber security training is one of the major challenges of training departments, right? Many of us in corporates must have gone through that course. With this gamified activity, we simulate a real scenario. Simulation is simulating a real scenario where users make decisions and experience the consequences of their action. This way, they learn through experience how to identify fraudulent email. All right. So let's do this. So now this is how it starts. I'm going to put the sound on. TV, for those of us that have used old school TVs before, then you start. Okay. Immediately you start, there's an incoming call. When you pick it, so before I move to the next one, did we all hear the sound? Did we all hear the sound? What the person said? Didn't. Let's try that again. Okay, let me try that again. Sharing this. Okay, one moment. Let me reshare and ensure that the sound is included. Share. Okay, share the tab or screen instead. Okay. Okay. Can you all see my screen? So you let me know if you can. Let's go back. Okay. Okay, great. So let's go back and look at that experience again, because we're going to design this and make it work that way. So this is a simulation of a real life experience. And then if we go back and start all over again. So we expect this in this one, the sound is not automatic. You have to activate the sound yourself. So I've activated the sound. And then, mm. So there's a sound like a phone ringing, and then once I pick it,
Hello. I was calling to let you know that someone is trying to hack our email system with fake emails. Please pay close attention to the emails you receive and, if in doubt, send them to the trash can. Thank you.
did we hear that sound? The phone ringing, the person giving the information about the email. Did we hear all that? Yes. Okay, great. We heard the sound. So now the next thing that appears on this page is the email. And when I click on the email, something pops up to tell me, okay, dodge all fraudulent emails by sending them into the trash and mark the ones you want to keep as favorites. That is an instruction. All of this is teaching people how to deal with fraudulent email. They could have just listed all this content in PDF format or Word format and asked them to read, but they are simulating an experience for them. Dodge all fraudulent emails by sending them to the trash and mark the ones you want to keep as favorites. So the sign, the ones you want to dodge, what you need to do, there's going to be a trash sign and there's the favorite sign. Beware, one mistake can infect your computer with a virus. If you make it to the end, you will get the key to keeping your device protected. So brave it, give up. Give up means I don't want to continue. Brave it means I want to try. Did you see when I clicked that, a sound came up? There's a way to give that effect as well. So now it says, which subjects seem the most suspicious to you? Let's say you receive an email. There's a subject for the email. Let's all look at these subjects now. Which one do we think will be more? Yes, to hack. Yes, Tomiwa, thanks for that. So which of these do we think should be? There is objective that says objective presentation. You have 3 days left to recover your account. Urgent, confirm your password here. And then sending you a little inspiration. You can actually select more than one answer. Which ones do we think are suspicious? Let's put in the chat, please. I hope you can see it clearly. Okay, great. Second one, okay. Second one says you have 3 days left to recover your account. I mean, that is very suspicious. Any other one? Urgent, confirm your password. Exactly. Why am I being asked to confirm my password? So we're going to choose those two and send. Let's see what we get. Good. Correct. Here is part of the code you need. So we have a code now that says S at the bottom. So remember earlier it said that you're going to get a code to secure your account. So I hope we noted that. So there's an S there. Let somebody put S in the chat so that we know we are following. Yes, second and third, yes. So let's put, somebody put S in the chat. Great. So now let's move on now. This one says, this is an email that has come in now, right? And it says, David, now if I hover here, there's something appearing down. I'm coming. I'm trying to make it look bigger. So when I hover at this bottom, it's not so clear. It says from David, the email address is david.lopez@gmail.com. Feedback train. This is a Gmail address, right? Do we think we're in the office? Is that suspicious or okay? So do we discard it or put in favorite? It's a Gmail address. Any suggestions? So when you are working in an organization, an email does not come from your company email like at company.com, then you should consider it suspicious. So I'm going to put it in. The email seems important. Are you sure you want to delete it? Okay, that's a tip for us that is actually not a bad email. Let's look at it again. Feedback training, maybe based on the topic. Obviously, in this context, they're not looking at where it's coming from. So let's keep it as favorable. It will say. It gives the sound that's okay. Here's another one, nothing. And this one says protect your something. Protect your, I think. So the one that is saying protect, this is from nothing. Nothing is something recover email at gmail.com. Recover email, no. I don't think this will be okay. Let's discard it. So that sound says it's okay. This is another one from Outlook. I'm out of the office. That should be okay. Take note of this other letter you will need. So we've done a good job. So it's giving us another letter P. Just let somebody put P in the chat. So we had S before and P. So let's go. So now what we have learned before moving to this point now. Okay, let's do this last one. Order the text and check if it makes sense. Do you trust it? So this is an email. You want to order it. So we are moving words around. Usually, an email will start with dear something. So attention user with comma, of course, should be on top here. Your email account cannot be. So this is not moving. And the information on it says I should build other emails around. This cannot be moved, but some of them can be moved. Your email cannot be automatically updated. It requires new software, I believe. To request it, we need a copy of your ID. To request it, we need a copy of, to request, we need a copy of your ID. Thank you for your collaboration. So this makes sense. Your email account can be automated, cannot be automatically updated, requires a new software. We need a copy of your ID. That sounds suspicious to me. Your account is going to be blocked. So this is a suspicious, so I'm going to delete it. And it says, I've dodged another fraudulent email. So what we've done here is to use gamification. They could have written that sentence, but they made you to think about how to arrange them together. That's gamification in play. And then now, at every stage, you are receiving a reward. The first reward was the first letter S. The next one is P, right? And this one is now A. Let somebody put, so we had S, we have P, then A now. Let's put A. So this is, you are moving from stage to stage and you're receiving reward. Receiving reward is one of the elements of gamification. And at the end of the day, so what, from this, what the activity we've done now, we have learned the type of emails that we should be mindful of. Okay? The type of emails that are suspicious that we should dodge. What should we do? We should delete. So that is what they have taught their employees in this game-based learning. Okay, so what I want to show us now is how this was done in Genially. I've showed us some of the tricks, but we have seen some tricks here. So let's go to Genially and dive into designing that particular course. So the link to this activity, I'm going to put in the chat now in case you want to check it out later. This is it. The entire course where you, but right now, let's get into designing. Okay. So last week, You have to watch last week's session. I showed us how to use the different elements in Genially, which I'll just quickly show us a bit, but not as detailed as last week, so that we don't waste too much time. Okay, so when you sign it to Genially, let's stop this and move to another page. When you sign it to Genially, window, tab. So it brings you here after you've signed up. So what we're going to choose, that you know there are usually templates, but I'm going to start with a blank template, blank creation. Looks like that's not the page I'm sharing. Let's go back. Okay, so this is a blank page, and we want to so okay, let me share. If I share win screen so that you can see as I'm copying, as I'm redesigning what we saw earlier. Let's do that again. Stop sharing, share entire screen. Yeah. Okay. So can you see my Genially on the left? And then the course that we looked at earlier on the right here. So the first thing you want to look at is the screen, this computer screen. So I'll just come to Genially here. Under resources, I'll look for, so under illustration here, I can see a computer screen. Or I've just Googled computer screen. So let's say computer. That brings it up. Okay, let's go under icon, under all. These are all screens, but I want something that looks a bit more real. So I'll pick this computer that looks like a laptop and increase the size. Okay. Okay, let me make this big. So now I've put this computer. Let me do that again. I chose a computer here. You can import your image from anywhere. Now I'm not going to do that. If I can get a GIF or a small short video that shows a screen that is moving the way the other one moved, I would have added, but this is what I'm going to make use of now. So the first thing, on the first screen, we saw the title of the course, cybersecurity, right? Where's our screen? So we have can you still see my screen? So here we have our screen. And then the next thing on that was the topic, cybersecurity course. Let me just put that. We use text to do that. Cybersecurity. And then the next thing is to put in a button that says start. Do this quickly. So we'll go to interactive elements. And if you scroll down, you're going to see buttons here. I'll click on this text button. I'm not going to add interactivity to it yet, where it will go to, but it's black in color, so it's not going to show. Let me change the color to red. So now it shows. I need to also put the information that I want. I need to change the text. Say start. Okay. So we have our first screen, right? Now the next screen that we want it to go to, let's add page. The next page that we want it to go to is the page where we had next page where there's the calling and there's sound, there's incoming call. Immediately you click on start, it takes you there and it starts to ring. You want to see how that is done. This is page 1. So let's go back to page 1. So that this screen is the same size and in the same place. Now I'm going to make this screen to be centralized in the middle position. Okay. All right, so we're going to duplicate this page. The way to duplicate page, if you come to pages here on the left, it shows the pages. So up here you can duplicate. So I've duplicated the page. On the second page, all I need to do is to remove this cybersecurity, remove it, delete, and remove this start, delete. So I want to add this incoming call with the buttons. If I come to resources here, if you search call, you're going to see the sign, the call button. If I choose this, I can change the color to green. Green color. Okay, no, that's not the type of call. The type that I want something bold, not just an outline. So I'll choose this one that is bold. Let's change it to green. Yeah, so we have our green. No, white. It's actually white. White. Then with, on a green background. The green background is a circle. I think there's one like that is already in a circle. No, there isn't. So let's look for under resources. You can look for shapes. Shapes. shapes here. So we'll look for circle. You can just search for circle actually. And then let's choose this circle. So I'll bring it here, change that circle to green. So that's going to be my background for this one. But before I need to duplicate this circle so that the other, okay, no, before I do that, let's put this, I want this one to be on top. So I'm going to use the layer option to bring it forward. So it's going to be on top now. I'm going to group the two together. So for me to, I'm going to, this screen now, I'm going to lock it up so that when I'm selecting other things, it doesn't get selected. I've locked this screen. So I'm going to select these two and reduce them together to become small. All right. Let's duplicate that. Let's group them together. Group with this group. Duplicate it by doing copy and paste. So I have a second one. So now this is going to be, I'm going to change this color, this circle. Let me ungroup this, the circle to red. I'm going to delete the call inside and put something else. Interactive elements. Let's show more. I want something that has X, like, so that's it actually. I don't need this red. I don't need this one. I'll just click on this and change the color to red. And then that gives me what I want. Have them side by side. So let's take them up here. Take them up and get a background for them. So there is an incoming call. Before I do that, still under resources, this shape, make it slim. If you remember, the background for the color was very light, almost like white. And they will send it backward. Send it backward. Now, okay. Then we'll put incoming call, right? Incoming call with text. I'm going to show us where we are copying it from and see if it's still the same. Text is supposed to be white. So take the income. Okay, now it's black actually. It's black. So I'm going to take us back to the other. Now let's continue. So now this is our second screen. Now when let's add interactivity. When we click on start, we want it to go to the next page. So we'll come here, add interactivity, go to page, and then we'll select page 2, save. Now we want to add sound to page 2, right? So when you click on start, it tells you what interactivity means, page 2, which is the next page. The next page now, we want it to start ringing. So the way I added the sound is by I recorded it from my phone. If you come to audio here, insert audio, you can actually record audio here. So I just went to my phone, I went to the ringtones and I recorded it. So I'm going to copy the sound and bring it here. I had that done earlier so that I don't waste our time. So I have the sound here. But now when the sound is ringing, I don't want the sound to show. So I'm going to edit the sound and put hide audio player. So let's go to page. Let's go and check it out. I'm going to preview. This is a preview. So on the preview now, if I click on start, it takes me to the next page and it should ring. Oh, the sound is still, the audio is still showing. So let's go back and edit it. It's not supposed to show. So why is it showing? I edited it and said, oh, it wasn't activated. Hide audio player. Autoplay, it's on autoplay. That means immediately gets there, it's going to start playing. It's not going to wait for me to click on it. And then there's also loop. It will keep ringing until somebody clicks. So these are options. So let's go back to the preview. Click. Start. It's finished. Do you see? So you put the sound and you hide it. Now, remember, I have not put any interactivity on this call, so it's not going to take me anywhere. So let's go back and do page 3. The next thing I want to happen is when I go to page 3, so I'm going to go to pages on this side and duplicate this page again because I still want this screen to appear in the same place. I'll delete the sound on this page, delete these ones. I don't want them. Now what I want is the face of someone showing, and I also want emails. If I go back to my interactive element again, you can search for email. We can see email sign here. Let's pick this one and then give it white color. Remember, an email appeared at the bottom. And then there's also a circle and a person. So I have an image that I imported from PowerPoint, which I'm going to copy from another slide. You can get your image from anywhere, from PowerPoint, from so I'm going to copy and paste that image. So if you go on PowerPoint, or you can even go on Canva, if you see any image in any template, save it as PowerPoint. When you get to PowerPoint, save that particular image as a picture, and then you can make use of it. And there are also, images that you can use here if you want. I got mine from PowerPoint. So the first thing I'm going to look for is a circle. Make it gray color. This gray color is okay by me. Then I'll put this image. This image is supposed to talk, right? So there's another thing that appeared on this email, number 1 on a tiny circle. Let me delete this. I should be able to have something like that, interactive elements that has figure. Show more. So this circle is already, I can change any one of them to a number. So I want it to be red. I want it to be really, let's change the number first. Change what's inside. Here's number 1 text. Number 1. I mean, it doesn't have to be number 1. It can be what it is. Let's leave it as it is, but I'm going to change it to red. So now let's go back to page 2. If we click, so we need to add the interactivity. When you click on this green, when you pick the call, it should take you to page 3, right? Go to page 3, choose the page. So that's it. If we go to preview again, starting from page 1, now I have not added any other audio here because I haven't recorded any. So that's something that you want to do on your own. So let's go back to preview. It appears, right? Okay, where's the number? Let's go to preview. So we start to ring. We click this, it takes us here. Okay, there's also an interactivity for this one to appear. If I click on this mail, it's supposed to open up an email for me. So if I want to add interactivity to that, I'll use the pop-up window. So click add interactivity. So instead of page, I'll use open window. So something pops up. Let's assume that we are using this template that already has an information. Use template. So let's go back. Our time is fast spent. We'll do preview. After this, we're going to stop. Start. Click on this. If you click on your email, the email comes up. So these are things that you can do. So first of all, of course, you need to know your objective. You need to know your story that you want to tell, and then you convert it into, a simulation of real life experience where people can click things. So I'm going to implore us to, we're going to stop at this point. We've spent 1.5 hours. So what I need us to do is to go here. I've sent the page. You're going to see all those interactivity for the course. How it was done is there, so you can use them. Does anyone have any question before we wrap up today? There's also another one. This is simulation. There's another one on role play. So I'm going to share those links in the chat now with us. And then the message that will come to you. So watch out for your email after you have, okay, let me just put it in this place now. Those and other suggestions of places that you can get information about gamification, learn how to gamify, interactive questions for gamification. There are quite a lot of them. So these are links to the gamification and the Genially Academy. Those short courses they are simplified. How to use interactive elements, they're all simplified and you can make use of them. Learn, practice, they're all available there. So I'm sharing them in the chat with us now. I've shared 1, 2, and then the one that we're looking at now, I've shared it earlier. Okay, you want me to put the links in the Discord group? Okay, but that'll be tomorrow. So what I'll do is when I'm sharing the replay of this class, I'm going to attach the links to the place where you're going to. So now these links, they're going to show when I share the replay to this course, in the resources where you're going to read, where you're going to watch the replay, you're going to see resources, you're going to see this chart, and then you'll be able to click the links there. Okay, that's the easiest way. All right. Okay, great. So what I expect you guys to do now is to practice and create a course and share in the Discord group. And if you have any more questions, just ask in the Discord group. For those of us that have not been able to connect, Tomiwa, you said you were not able to connect to the Discord group. I don't know why that is. So you need to sign up. It's like signing up to like Facebook or something. You have to sign up if you don't have an account. So this is an invite to join the elite group, actually. As I'm clicking on it now, let me show you what it's showing me. What you're supposed to see. It's supposed to tell you to accept invite. Where is it? Have you been able to connect? Saying unable to accept invite again. Let's share. I'll just share my screen for you to see what you're supposed to see. So this is where it's going to take you. To take you to Discord, accept invite. And if you have not signed up to Discord, you'll be required to. Or if you're using your phone, your phone, it might ask you to download the Discord app. And then once you accept the invite, it takes you to the group. Okay. So it brings you to this group. And then you see, different things that we're doing there. Okay. All right. Now I can see Kingsley just joined us during the event. He was able to come in. So let me know if you are not able to, and then we'll see what we can do. All right, guys. I'll expect your designs and all. You can share in the group. Have a great evening, and bye for now. Okay, I'm looking for my